for maybe decades to come. Actually, they are now calling the young, I love millennials. They are leading this whole process. Millennials are careful. Everybody thinks that they're reckless. I think they are a very cautious group. As a matter of fact, they're having less sex. 1/3 of American millennials are living at home. Before the pandemic, they were living at home. And they weren't living at home because they were lazy. They were living at home because they want to put their career together. They want to get financially stable before they tie the knot. And they're very serious about love. They'll go out and hop into bed with somebody, but if it's not going to work, they get rid of it. They've invented this term DTR, define the relationship. And I asked 5,000 singles, including an awful lot of millennials, when do you have this conversation, DTR, define the relationship? And they said within 4 months. That was the average, 4 months. After 4 months of going out with somebody, you ask, where are we headed? In my day, you'd wait years. You would wait years. These people are dedicated to knowing what's going on. They want transparency. They want honesty. They want meaningful conversations. They're looking for somebody who's financially stable, and they're not going to take second best. They're going to wait. They feel they've got time, and they're using sex, I think, as an interview process. These days, they know how to avoid getting pregnant. They know how to avoid disease, and they don't have to walk the walk of shame. So sex has almost become, I think, a bit of a sex interview before the first date. And a lot of older people think that's crazy. Well, you mean you're going to have sex before the first date? Well, a lot of them forget that a first date, at least in New York City, can cost you $200. And these people want to go out and have a meaningful conversation and know that this could work. I asked the young in this Singles in America study, what's keeping you from getting serious about anybody? And millennials, say 40% of millennials said, I first want self-acceptance. Now, when do you get self-acceptance? It's very noble, but it's a noble crowd. Millennials are serious about love. There are still an awful lot of academics that hold out that there are no differences between men and women. They are fighting the last war. That war should be so over. The bottom line is that there are some real gender differences in the brain. And I'm not the only one that knows that. There's a huge amount of data that people, even doing brain scanning studies on something entirely different. They're not even looking for gender differences, and they see these gender differences. And the data is just overwhelming that there are some real gender differences that evolved millions of years ago. In fact, I wrote a whole book about it called The First Sex, The Natural Talents of Women and How They're Changing the World. And indeed, as women pile into the job market in cultures around the world, they really come with some incredible assets. And of course, for millions of years, men and women did different things. Men went out hunting all the time. For that, you needed the